Hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Online Learning with Miss Castillo and Miss Carranza. Good morning, boys and girls. Today is Monday, April 13th of 2020. Welcome back to week 3 of online learning. I hope you all enjoyed your wonderful weekend and were able to celebrate or just spend time with your family as needed. Remember that today is Monday. You have a library. Don't forget to grab some lunch, and our club is at 2 o'clock. Today we will be working with science, so please be sure that you are logging into Imagine Math. Ms. Carranza and I have been checking who all has been doing practice with Imagine Math and Imagine Learning, and we really appreciate those of you who have been able to do it. Please remember that this is just an extra practice for you that can help you. Para aquellos que han entrado a Imagine Math y a Imagine Literacy, les agradecemos mucho. Miss Carranza y yo hemos visto a todos los que ya han entrado y estar practicando. Recuerden que esto es una práctica muy importante para ustedes porque les ayuda a seguir avanzando con sus matemáticas y su lectura. So we are going to go ahead and get started today. Last week we had the chance to talk about fish. That was one of the species, one of the vertebrates that we were talking about. This week we will be talking about a new kind of vertebrate. Today we are talking about identifying the characteristics of birds, okay? So we have seen birds all around us. They're all around in nature. You can actually step out into your backyard and possibly see a bird or two. So today it's going to be kind of like the introduction that I did last week with the fish. It's going to be like almost the exact same activity. But this is just a way that you guys can keep the information with you without having to come back to the video. But if you need the video, of course, it's always here. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our book about birds. We are learning all about birds today. Remember that the words are in English, pero también las palabras van a estar disponibles para ustedes en español aquí en la pantalla. So pongan atención a las palabras que están en rojo, creo. We are going to jump over to our book. We are reading about birds, sobre los pájaros. Birds have feathers. Baby birds hatch from eggs. Okay, so as I'm going through these, I want you to start thinking about some things that we've already seen with the other type of species, because that's going to be important for later in the week. Some birds build nests on the ground. Now, look at this nest. Think about the needs of the animal. What do you think this nest would be considered? Is it their food? Is it their water? Is it their air? Or is it their shelter? I think it's their shelter, right? So this is somewhere where they can live. Some birds build in very high places. That's a nest up there. And some do not build nests at all. So if some of them don't build nests, where do you think they will live? So like this penguin right here, where do you think penguins would shelter in? Okay, maybe in a cave, maybe in ice, maybe they built something. All right. Birds travel in different ways. So what is the main way that birds travel when you think of a bird? What do you think they do? Fly, right? Most birds fly, but some swim. So let's look at this picture right here when it loads. And before it's loading, I want you to kind of think about, okay, what birds swim? A duck, right? So thinking back to the activity that we had about the mammals, ducks aren't mammals. Ducks are actually considered birds. Others run. This is called the road runner. Birds may flock together, and flock means that they just travel together. Or live alone. What's this bird called? What does this look like? An owl. That's an owl. And sometimes they just like to be alone. Birds use their bills to gather food. Okay, so I'm going to take a little pause here and I want you to look at their bills. Another word for bills is actually beaks. So look at these birds and their beaks. Do they all look the same? No, right? They don't look the same because some birds need different types of food. So I can see this one, he kind of has like a seed in his mouth. He has a fish. This one has maybe a worm. This one is eating from the flower. This one has an actual flower in their beak. They sing to let other birds know how they feel. Birds come in all sizes. So kind of like the fish that we talked about last week, not all birds look the same. So we have some little birds right here, a big bird right there, a medium-sized bird, one that's really, really tall. Birds are important to us. Alrighty. I love reading those books to you guys just because you're able to see all the pictures and able to follow along in Spanish if you need to. So I really hope you guys are enjoying those books. We're going to go ahead and move on to start talking about the characteristics of birds. So last week we had the chance to do this with the fish. So now as we start talking about birds, I want you to kind of think about how are they kind of the same? How are they different? Because this will help you coming up this week. So, number 1, birds lay hard-shelled eggs. Okay, so, and I have the Spanish words over here in red. Las de español están aquí. So, birds lay eggs. Now, when we were talking about mammals, we talked about how mammals, when they give birth, their baby's already like ready to live. Dogs, when they have puppies, the puppy, you can already see the puppy. Cats, when they have kittens, you can see the kittens. But birds, they need to put their eggs, they lay their eggs, and then they take care of them for a while and they sit on them. Now, one of the most common birds that we know is the chicken. So the chicken is a bird, and chickens lay eggs, right? So in order to have a baby chick, they need to be able to warm it up and make sure that it's having time to form in the egg. Penguins, they lay eggs, and really all types of birds, they have to lay eggs in order for their babies to be born. Number 2, birds take care of their babies. So we talked about how some mammals, when they have their babies, they're just ready to live their life on their own. They're able to walk by themselves, they can go find food for themselves, but baby birds don't have that ability when they're born, when they are hatched from the egg. So when they come out of the egg, they still need mama to come watch them, to bring them food. So we see right here in the little picture, mama bird is bringing them a little worm so they can eat. And this happens for a couple of weeks. They can't just start flying. They need to be able to get used to it and to practice, and that's what mamas are there for, to help them. Number 3 says birds have feathers. So we talked about how mammals have hair and fur, right? Fish have scales to protect themselves. And remember that fur also keeps them warm, the mammals. So birds actually have feathers to keep them warm and to help them control their temperatures. Number 4 says birds have 2 wings and 2 legs. So we talked about how there's different parts of the birds. So one of the most important things that help them is their wings, right? So it helps them fly or even just run fast. If they're not fly birds, it helps them run fast or it helps them swim fast. Kind of like how fish have their fins. The birds use their wings to flap to fly faster, to swim faster, to run faster. And they also have two legs. So when you see birds, you'll notice that they're either standing. If they're not flying, they're going to be standing, and they only have two legs to stand on. Number 5 says birds are warm-blooded. So unlike fish, they're not like the fish here. They are able to control their body temperature, right? And remember that we talked that fish were cold-blooded because they can adapt to the temperature of their water. But birds need to know, they know if it's too hot, they need to go somewhere cool. If it's too cold, they need to go somewhere warm so they can still survive. Birds are vertebrates, so like the animals that we've been talking, these birds have a spine, and this is what helps them kind of keep their body up. And number 7 is birds do not have teeth. So when we were reading the book right now, we saw the different types of foods that they eat. The ones that eat fish, they need their strong beak so they can chew through the fish because they don't have teeth. Most of them kind of just you eat soft food like worms, flowers, little seeds that they can break with their beaks that they don't really have to chew. All right, so we're going to come back to this one when we're talking about our activity. But if you want to pause the video right now, you can go ahead and do that. Write this down and then come back to the video so we can talk about our activity. Okay, so like last week, we are going to be making our own information page, right? So I'm going to give you some time to get your paper ready. I have mine ready here. So you're going to want to put your name, the date, and then 1, 2, and 3, okay? So you are able to have space ready for your drawing. So we're going to learn how to draw a bird today, okay? As you are doing that, I'm going to start preparing the video. Be sure to grab a pencil and a piece of paper. So this one's really short. We're going to start with the beak. Okay, so she has the beak down. Now we're going to go on to the head. And draw a little eyeball. Okay, so now we're drawing the wings. I remember that this was really important for them to be able to fly, right? So we can't leave him without a wing. And we're also including the feathers. So this drawing is also showing us how to draw the feathers of the bird. Now we're going to connect and give him his body. And we're going to draw the second wing back there. And now we're drawing the 2 legs. And this one has big feet. Alrighty, so if you need to go back on the video to rewatch that or to redo it, go ahead. Here is my birdie. There he goes. And remember that I'm leaving some space to add my important information. So for my important information, we're going to go down here and read our activity for the day. It says, on the same page where you drew your bird, write 3 important characteristics of birds that we talked about in the lesson. So, en la misma página donde dibujó su pájaro, vas a escribir 3 características importantes de los pájaros de cuales hablamos en la lección. Okay, so like I told you, this is really similar to how we did the fish, and this is just a great way for you guys to keep this information in your notebook, on your papers, just in case you ever need to go back, or if you find a bird, you can say, hey, let me look at the information that we learned in the lesson, right? Okay, boys and girls, well, with that, I say see you tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson and that you are excited to be talking about birds this week. I know that last week during our Zoom meeting, we talked with a friend who also has a bird, so I hope you enjoyed doing this activity. Please remember to stay healthy, helpful, and calm in this situation. I love you all so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Hasta mañana.